What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, reporting in. I might actually have a double upload today, depending on whether or not I can get the footage from somebody in Canada who happened to visit the storied Variant Comics to much hilarity. This video, though, in a lot of ways is more important. It's about another SJW hate mob deplatforming somebody in gaming. Now, Larry Correia is the best-selling fantasy author, best known for his Monster Hunter International series. He was recently invited as a guest of honor to the Origins Game Fair, and something I had, in fact, planned on attending along with Gen Con this year to cover for my Unsleeved Media gaming channel, but will no longer be attending now. He was, in a lot of ways, an ideal guest of honor for the Origins Fair. He, of course, is a best-selling sci-fi author who's going to have a large draw of people that want to show up there. He's also a dedicated miniatures gaming hobbyist and has co-developed an RPG based on his Monster Hunter International series of novels. We're gonna try to get to the bottom of why people might not like him, but in all of my research, of course, as usual, I found nothing. But let's see what happens when he was invited. And he's a perfect encapsulation of everything. Wow, Origin Games, this is unacceptable. Larry Correia is the sad puppy who tried to destroy the Hugos because they dared to acknowledge the talent of women and people of color. And you have made him a guest of honor? And not a single woman on the list? We expect better of you. So typical to project and judge others of the, in the social justice cult. And to give you a bit of background, while his efforts to get more people out to vote on the honors, on the awards for the Hugos, wasn't exactly, it had nothing to do with women or people of color, just had everything to do with proving a point that there is a small group of in-friends that all award each other awards. Imagine, where else have we seen anything like that? Folks, please ask loudly and speak about the inclusion of Larry Correia as an Origins guest of honor, and the lack of representation for women. Tell Origins what you think. And it's the only way we'll have the change. A little while later, and they just booted Larry from the list. Hurrah, folks. Our voices were heard. Thank you, Origins Games, for listening. Sincerely, some douchebag who I guarantee doesn't spend any money in the hobby anyway. Their announcement was, I want to discuss our invitation to Larry Correia as a guest at Origins. By all counts, he is a very talented author. Unfortunately, when he was recommended, I was unaware of some personal views. Again, he has no odd personal views. I invite you to research it for yourself, but I research it myself. I've even spoken to him, and he basically debunks everything on his blog, which we'll get to. I want to thank those of you that brought this error to our attention. Origins is an inclusive and family-friendly event. We focus on fun and gaming, not discourse and controversy. Yet here you are bending the knee to controversy. And who else do we see on this list? Well, it's the co-designer of Wizards of the Coast, Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, Mike Merles. So if you're into Wizards of the Coast products, here we go. Thanks for speaking up, and good on Origins for listening and deplatforming. I mean, acting. Yeah, happy at their swift response. Just wish they would have looked at his Wikipedia page before booking him. By the way, I looked at his Wikipedia page. There's absolutely nothing in there controversial. Certainly not any anti-woman or anything that they're saying. Right? But, of course, we know that the social justice hate mobs, they simply do not care. They don't care about truth. And now I want to show you this ladies' post that also was heavily interacted with by the Origin staff. Let's go to that piece of evidence. What the hell? This is when they announced it. What the hell, Origins? Larry Correia? He is a horrible human. He has attacked people I love. Is a bigot who tried to lead an effort to take down the Hugo Awards because they dared to acknowledge women and people of color. Again, outright lies. Just complete lies. None of this is proven. No evidence provided, right? Also, there's not a single woman in your lineup of five guests of honor. You know what this list tells me? It tells me that myself and people like me are not wanted or welcome at Origins. Right, because a tiny panel that hardly anybody attends, if you've actually been to conventions, which clearly this cunt never has been, very few people, unless you're at PAX, really go to these panel type things. They're there to look at the games, they're there to play games, they're there to buy, they're there to hang out with their friends. Most people couldn't care less about it. But of course, Whitney Strix Beltran obviously spends thousands of dollars on hobbies. She's very concerned. It tells me that I am not safe to be brown there or to be a woman there, because you are prioritizing the status quo over social accessibility to anyone who is not white looking and male. By the way, Larry's not white. I believe he's half Portuguese or something like that. So this is just pure 100% unadulterated cringe. This is unacceptable. I'll be telling all my friends. Like, that is the absolute most hilarious way to end it. I'm going to tell all my friends. I'm going to tell my friends that you brought people that would bring people into the doors over meeting diversity quotas. You know, when you have a convention, it costs money to have a booth there. You know, I didn't know. I mean, Whitney is clearly a veteran of the hobby. She knows a lot about what it's like to run a booth and to be a vendor at these events. You know, it's more about getting 5 people that are different skin color than having any diversity of ideas. You know, it doesn't matter. This is the exact reason these idiots are ruining hobbies. They're ruining Magic. They're ruining comics. This way of thinking, by the way, I mean, is they don't care about sales or pleasing the customer. They only care about optics, right? It didn't matter. It doesn't matter that Larry's going to bring in hundreds of people because of his big name and all of his huge following. No, that doesn't matter. It's because he appears white. By the way, he has not attacked anybody or anything. And look at this, 104 interactions or favorites, right? I mean, I don't know. Again, I can only assume these are idiots that, you know, just have no interest at all in the convention. That's 104 ticket holders, I'm sure, right? Then within hours, the event organizer, who is a giant cuck, folded like as Larry put it, a cheap folding chair. And let's look at Larry's statement, because I think it's fair to address his side of things, right? So he says, I'm no longer the writer, guest of honor at Origins. My invitation has been revoked. It was the usual nonsense. Right after I was announced as a guest, some people started throwing a temper tantrum and alleged my racist, sexist, homophobic, whatever, of course with zero proof or actual evidence, and the guy in charge, John Ward, immediately folded. He didn't even talk to me first. He just accepted the slander and gave me the boot in an email that talked about how inclusive they are. I actually heard about it on Facebook before I ever saw the email. They did this to John Ringo at Con Carolinas a little while ago and took a lesson from it. It's just another new way for bullies to target people who disagree with them. Throw a fit, make up some accusations, and cry about how you feel unsafe. Now that they know it works, it's just another tool in their toolbox. By the way, Larry Correia is super, super damn woke. If he's at Monster Hunter 45 on Twitter. If you want to show this guy some support and shoot him some kind words, I think that would be really, really, I'm sure he needs it. And what would even be better is if you checked out his books. I ordered one off Amazon. I'd hoped to have it here for the video, but I'm going to check it out. I have a little extra time on my hands these days. For the record, I'm not any of these things they accuse me of. Despite writing a whole bunch of books and a ton of political articles and all of my many personal interactions with fans, I've done up to 15 cons and events in a single year. None of these people can ever find any actual example of me being sexist, racist, or homophobic. Gee, I wonder why they don't like him.
Then you should know about Larry Correia, author right here. Yeah, you've got several series of books that you do, Larry, right?
Yeah.
And what everyone likes about your stuff, if you're a real gun guy, you are a real gun guy. There's real gun action. You know, people start shooting and it gets loud and they lose their hearing. There's no safeties on Glocks or hammers and all that kind of crazy stuff. There's a great diversity in your books. I've been a huge fan, my entire family.
Thanks,
we all listen to your stuff.
And the Guardian looked hard and still came up with nothing. That's because in reality, I'm a libertarian who does not give a shit about who you are or what you do. It's none of my business as long as you stay off my lawn. This time they kept calling me a rape apologist. They dug up that classic that John Scalzi called me several years ago, which is total nonsense. I spent many years teaching self-defense to women, and I'm all in favor of every rape attempt ending with the rapist receiving a couple of hollow points to the chest. But that just goes to show you the power of lies, rumor, and narrative. So many years later, some complete strangers come out of the woodwork to talk about how evil I am. Yeah, that does get tiresome, and it's wearing. I'm really sorry to any fans who were planning on seeing me at Origins. Hopefully, I'll get to meet you at some other event. For me personally, meh. I go to enough events. I'll just do something else fun that weekend. The saddest person in all of this is my son, who was my +1. He was looking forward to playing a bunch of games. Then we were going to go to the zoo on Sunday because they have manatees there. Right? Sounds like a total monster, right? And let's look at some of the, of course, the reactions, right? The choice of Origins Games to invite Larry Correia as a guest of honor suggests they have no problem with alienating women, POCs, and GLBTQ plus gamers, and this at a con that takes place during Pride. Because they take, so what this intelligent individual is saying is, you know, we want inclusion by excluding people, right? We don't care that the fans actually want to see this person. We want that person to be a certain purse puppy, a certain box that we need to get checked. That's all that matters. Not pleasing the people paying the hundreds of dollars to go there. It's about these terrorists in Vancouver, British Columbia, that I fucking guarantee isn't attending Origins Games. Here's Eric Buscemi. Come on, Origins Games. How can you have a guest of honor that doesn't meet the standards of your own harassment policy? By the way, show me any evidence that he had done this. Of course, we have just another far-left ideologue making up a complete lie. And then you'll see the guest I'm referring to is author Larry Correia. He's most widely known for trying to sabotage the Hugo Awards voting so that his right-wing authors would get nominations in favor of works of favored themes he felt were progressive or liberal. Even if this completely disingenuous definition of what Larry's movement was, which was basically him sticking a finger in the eye of the establishment, which I can totally appreciate. At what point is this harassing? You're calling him a harasser, right? Where is he harassment? Where? Right? John Dubois. I mean, I'm not normally blacklist kind of goy, but go Google sad puppies, or worse, rabid puppies, and tell me what Correia or Vox Day did was anything but a deliberate attempt to sabotage the SFWA and their industry. Over what? Feminist content getting recognition? Just for the record, I mean, I'm just saying. This, his own child wants nothing to do with him. I mean, that's how it looks. It's just my opinion. I don't know. I can't know. I'm not that baby. Here we have, never underestimate the blind spots of the privileged. I don't want this hobby associated with that bullshit. But also, thinking strictly from an organizational point of view, why would Origins invite a known rigger of awards to their event where they give awards? Why would you invite somebody who's going to bring hundreds of fans so that the vendors who are paying thousands of dollars for their booths make enough money to cover their nut and maybe their travel that weekend? Gee, I don't know. I don't know. Could it be Could it be good business? I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. Why would you invite somebody who knows exactly your people, the people that are going to be at that event, people that someone, an author that somebody actually wants to see? I'm not sure. But I did also find a really well-written article on Victory Girl's blog. I had hoped that Gamma would reply to my note, which was much more professional than lying, contradictory derp that John Ward sent Larry Correia. But alas, the rumors I'm hearing from gamers is that since Gamma took over Origins, it's been sliding downhill, so I doubt I'll get a reply. However, John Ward did have time to write a note to exhibitors, which Larry posted on his very public Facebook page. It is this note I want to address today because it shows the lies and obfuscations in which John Ward engages to cover his pathetic, worthless ass. Exhibitors, I'm sure you now know you or your team has seen the social media storm about our guest, Larry Correia. I felt compelled to give each of you some more insight as our major supporters. Yeah, I'm sure they've seen it, since both Gamma and Origin's social media pages have been inundated so hard with negative comments, they've begun deleting posts in order to save face, in an obvious hopes that Ward's unprofessional conduct would soon be forgotten. I once again remind Ward that the internet is forever, and here is his statement. Once again, point to John Ward's incompetence and lies in the statement, and in the one I am fisking right now. This guy is the most amateurish, bungling-ass clown ever hired by any professional association, or he's a lying sack of swine droppings, or maybe both. He says, frankly, I was unfamiliar with his work or his history until we posted our guest list yesterday. Honestly, our process to vet the author guest simply failed. Obviously, that vetting process has my attention as being revised. The most basic of Google searches would have shown who Larry Correia is and what his personal views are. His sales, his novels, everything about him. So either John Ward is a pathetic amateur fail or he's a liar, or maybe both. He then says, I received emails from exhibitors and sponsors giving me insight into the controversy around this particular guest. I appreciate those of you that reach out to me. As a result, we removed him from the guest list yesterday. I lean towards survey says fucking liar on this one. Exhibitors and sponsors go to these events to make money. Sure, these folks obviously love the art of gaming, but events that draw considerably higher profits than just regular online sales. Larry Correia is a gigantic draw. Judging from the shitstorm John Ward's actions garnered last night and today, fans drive and fly from all over to meet him. Those that would have met him adore the man and consider him one of the kindest, most generous people around. On the weekend such as this, not having Larry as a guest of honor will surely decrease those sales. But I see John Ward apparently doesn't want to show us just how much of a needle-dick amoeba he is for bowing down to primarily one shrieking harpy and her pals. This is written by a woman, by the way, just saying. So he has invented these exhibitors and sponsors who obviously hate profit so much, they emailed John to express their displeasure with Larry's presence. So we see the fight continues on from comics, from Magic the Gathering into board games, which I know board games has had its issues, absolutely, because I crossed paths. Let me tell you, I'll tell you one day the story about how I had a 4-day press pass to Gen Con, and far-left ideologues bombed their call center, call bombed, like just call, saying I was some kind of hate monger and I was going to bring weapons with me and all this stuff, and they took away my press pass as I was loading my vehicle to go there. I mean, you can see most people don't agree. Yes, this cunt who's against it, but you see, the amazing thing about Origins games banning Larry is that they didn't even both with the harasser / she makes people unsafe narrative. They literally admitted they disinvited him because he thinks the wrong things. Following your vile treatment of Larry, I promise I'll never attend your conference and never purchase anything by anyone who sponsors exhibits at all or attends your conference. Blame it on that crap weasel John Ward. Disinviting a massively popular fantasy sci-fi author, one who has particular appeal to the RPG and wargaming subsets of fandom over political views, Is that the move you're going for, Origin Games? The bold, bold strategy. Very successful and talented conservative authors are being bullied out of cons by a vocal minority of SJW activists who lie and slander and posture and virtue signal to get attention. I'm curious, y'all going to address the unceremonious and unprofessional dismissal of Larry Correia from Origin Games? There are a lot of folks really upset at John Ward's treatment of Larry. How do you think this is going for Origins Games? This is great. This is actually really encouraging. The only natural solution at this point is, one, to show Larry some love, but two, to not attend Origins, which I have now decided not to do. You have to put your money, or in this case, the lack of your money, where your mouth is. These conventions, in a lot of ways, are a thing of the past, in my opinion. And should they continue to bend the knee to people who are clearly not even their customer, and bullshit, stupid stuff like social media outrage, they're going to be accelerating their own irrelevance. They're going to become a thing of the past. We see this happening with the Magic the Gathering Grand Prix. We see this happening with the Comic Cons. We see this happening now with board games. And I'm curious how long till Gen Con gets more involved in this sort of thing. If you had intended or plan on intending Origins Game Fair, it is my opinion that you not only should skip it and process a refund, but you should let them, Origins, know on their social media profiles in a polite manner, politely reminding them that they and their hundreds of vendors have lost your business, have lost the opportunity to sell you things because they choose to side with far left ideologues who choose to insert politics into everything they see because they literally know nothing else.